Afternoon everybody, it's Barry here, Spirit Shack TV, and as you can see I've got some different background to the normal blank wall or the bathroom wall or the bedroom wall. I'm actually out and about. It's a beautiful day, just look at that blue in the sky, the sun is shining. It really is a day to be thankful for what we've got, and that's what I want to talk to you about today, just briefly. As I'm sure a lot of you will know by now, I am disabled, and a lot of my life is spent in my wheelchair. And this morning, having had absolutely no sleep last night, at 7 o'clock I finally thought, no, nothing's going to happen, I'm not even going to get an hour, so I might as well get up and go and sit in the lounge. At least my tossing and turning won't disturb John, etc. And I was feeling pretty down with myself until I opened the curtains and saw what a potentially glorious day it was going to be. But I decided, because John's out putting his catalogues out, that I'd try and help him a little bit. And I've done a bit. I've got my normal sticks here, and I have a little bag that's had a few catalogues in. And yeah, I've done a bit of walking, way more than I've done for a very long time. But you know, it was about having a positive mental attitude, and some of you will know I've got a nickname for my wheelchair, and when it's a bad day and I have to use the wheelchair, I often say it's an American screen siren of the 50s moment. I call my wheelchair Doris, so it's a Doris day. Ta-da! And that cheers me up a bit, but I feel absolutely exhilarated. I have walked more just now than I have walked in one go. Sorry about the plane overhead. At least it's not a Russian bomber destroying more of Aleppo, thank God. Wait for it to go past. If you can see it, we're right on the flight path for Bournemouth International Airport. I say Bournemouth International Airport. It does go international now, but it's still like a little regional airstrip, really. No, I reckon I've walked more just now in one go, pacing myself, doing it very slowly and carefully, and with all the supports I've got for my ankles and my legs and my back. I've got a corset on, I've got everything possible that the council and the physios and the neurosurgeon have granted me to help me try and keep a bit mobile. I'm 48, I don't want to be having a Doris day every day for the rest of my life, thank you. But I feel great because I've done it. I'm a bit tired now and I'm having to take a rest. Well, I don't know if you can see him, I think he's probably gone. John is right down the end of that road there and has just disappeared off doing some more books elsewhere. Well, didn't even turn far enough. He's just gone past that car. Anyway, I'm going to have to go home. I'm going to have to sit down and I'm going to have to rest. But that's part of having the guts to, and it is guts, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, to force myself to beat the odds. I will suffer for it later, but that's what the morphine's there for. It's there to ease my discomfort and my pain. So my message today is about taking risks, taking chances, even when the status quo, although dull and boring, might seem the safer option. Sometimes we just have to go for it. And when we do, you'd be amazed how much we can surprise ourselves. So if you've got weather like this where you are, get out in this sunshine. Make the most of this fantastic autumn weather we're having down here in the south of England. My heart and thoughts obviously go out to the people of Haiti and Cuba and the Caribbean, and to the people in South Carolina who I've seen for the first time mentioned on British News today with your terrible floods. And of course our hearts go out to the people of Aleppo. But there's another example of how just having the right gas fan, about having the right positive mental approach about daring to go for it can reap rewards you would never counter. This morning I watched a current affairs programme on the BBC while I was waiting for John to surface from his slumber on the BBC. A lovely woman called Victoria Derbyshire presents it, and she's actually been having a fairly rough time of it recently, as she's been suffering with cancer. I'm afraid I can't remember where, but there was a time when she was wearing a hairpiece, and she's like so many of us who have been afflicted by that awful big C. She's gone through it, and she's surviving it, and she's beating it because of her attitude. But it's not her I wanted to talk about. Just briefly, I wanted to mention the fantastic group of people called the White Helmets, or to give them their official name, the Syrian Civil Defence Corps, I think it is. They're a bit like the Dad's Army of Aleppo. And these guys all volunteer. They all have very different jobs. Some of them are medics, some of them are builders, some of them are unemployed, some of them are imams, some of them are teachers, because they have no jobs in Aleppo and don't look likely to be free of that tyrannical leader or the vile attacks that Russia is enforcing on that once beautiful city. There go my sticks. But these white helmets, they're now called the first responders. When Russia sends its next deadly weaponry dump onto Aleppo, probably later on today, hopefully our government, having a seat as one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, do something about that. That's my positive thought for today, that Russia will be stopped in its tracks, because what it's doing is tantamount to war. They're blowing up hospitals, they're blowing up children's homes, old people's homes, social centres. That's not war, that's war crime, and they need to be brought to account for it. But do any of our governments have the necessary sized cojones to inflict what needs to be done on Russia? I doubt it somehow. But these white helmets, going back to them briefly, they're never afraid. They don't worry about where the next bomb's going to fall. They gather together as first response. And like our emergency services in all the free countries of the world, they will dash to sites of damage, of pain, of suffering. And they will dig people out with their bare hands sometimes, or with any bits of equipment that they can beg, borrow or scrounge. Or they even showed one picture of a man using the upright part of a streetlight, just one that had been blown up and a bit of it had broken off and was on the floor, and he was using it to smash through rubble to bring out a child and his father who had managed to survive. They had horrible injuries, but they survived the vile situation when a bomb destroyed their apartment building and they were buried alive underneath it. So God bless those white helmet guys, first response, all our emergency crews, and anybody who is prepared to put themselves in danger for the freedom and liberty of every living person. There we go again. Second principle of spiritualism in action. They're undoubtedly Muslims, real Muslims, proper Muslims, like 99% of the Islamic world are decent, real, proper, loving and caring people. It's these lunatic minority that get all the coverage on the news and therefore taint the minds of idiots like Donald Trump and the jobs type yokels from the Ocals who just can't see further than the end of their own hatred and loathing of anybody from outside their own immediate family. So, back to something happy. Let's celebrate this wonderful day. Let's enjoy it. Let's go out there and make the most of every opportunity. And if, like me, you have a life-limiting condition, if you feel that you can't, you won't know if you truly can't until you've seen if you can. Don't Don't have to do it all in one go. Baby steps, please. But if I can do it with no discs in my spine, apart from one at the top and one at the bottom, that don't really do a great deal, and so can you. And I wish you every success, and I'm right behind you saying, go on, you can, if you really want to. Don't forget, this Friday we have a live trance live link on Facebook on our Spirit Shack TV page, and that's going to be a trance question and answer session with my beloved friend Morningstar. That's my phone going, so I'm just going to say namaste, may God go with you. If you like it, share it and subscribe it in the usual way. Till we see each other again. Keep watching.